All right, guys. What a pay-per-view. I just turned off the TV and just full of knockouts, full of finishers. This was an awesome, awesome card. Let's get right into the main event. Oh my God. Carlos Ulberg, dude. Carlos Ulberg tears his ACL, tears his Achilles, something. He blew out something in his leg. The dude couldn't even stand, you know, and then just drills Yuri with a perfect check hook. That's what people were expecting. That's his best punch. Puts Yuri out cold. Yuri looked like a corpse. You got to feel for Yuri, obviously, because he was giving Olberg a chance. Like, he was pointing at the ground. He was fighting back. He could have just danced out the first round, and the fight would have been stopped on the stool, obviously, because he blew out his knee. But the greatest probably comeback in history from Olberg. Like, no ACL, no, like, this is ridiculous. No power from that leg. Like, Olberg's legit. I was discounting his power. I didn't think he'd be able to put out Yuri, but he does. This dude must have nuclear hands or something that I wasn't aware of. I knew he had good power, but this was like Pereira power. This was crazy. One of the best knockouts I've seen in my life, given the circumstances. It was awesome. Um, Obviously, I think you give Ulberg Ankalaev next, and actually, it might be Yuri versus Ankalaev because, um, with no ACL, that's a crazy recovery, and even then, it's never the same. Like you saw what happened. Well, Hill was an Achilles tear, I believe. Jamal Hill, he tore his Achilles, and he just hasn't been the same. He's been slower with less power. So incredible win for Olberg, but at the same time, you got to be concerned of what this means for the rest of his career. But that being said, we're not gonna speculate on that. We'll see what happens when it happens. But incredible comeback from Olberg. I saw this guy twice in person, so I call him Carl, dude. We're besties. I call him Carl. We're on a first name basis like that. But you got to feel for Yuri because he did give Olberg a chance and he paid for it. Um, but the next fight, another incredible, incredible fight. Paulo Costa versus Azamat Murzakanov. I thought Mirzakhanov was going to win, but at the same time, I also thought Mirzakhanov was the most fraudulent, undefeated fighter ever. The dude's a 40-year-old blockhead with giant love handles. He's not a blockhead. The dude seemed pretty chinny against Costa, actually. Costa was drilling him with body kicks into a jiggly belly like Mirzakhanov. It's very effective. I was even texting my friend, like, the ripples on Mirzakhanov's belly when he gets kicked, very satisfying, dude. It looks like a stress toy. I would totally blow raspberry on Mirzakhanov's belly. But Costa looked great. He kind of gassed in the second round. He looked great first round. Like he was kicking him, hurting Mirzakhanov. Pretty clear first round for Costa. And then second round, he was gassing. He was getting hit, and it was starting to look not good. But the end of round two, Costa hits Mirzakhanov with a huge body shot. Uh, Causes Mirzakhanov to kind of clinch up and grapple. But you could tell the body shot really hurt him, and it was kind of all downhill from there for Costa because Mirzakhanov, it looked like it really gassed him out between the wrestling and the body shot. And then the start of round three, Costa was just dominating. Um, the commentary was saying it looked like one of Costa's head kicks broke Mirzakhanov's arm, but then it said Mirzakhanov was stretchered out. I mean, I'm not a doctor, so they might stretcher you out if you break your arm, but I feel like it could have been something else, like because the body kicks and body shots were very debilitating, and that's what really led to the finish. Even though the finish was from a head kick, I think it was the body shots that were the most effective strike. But overall, another great fight. Costa might be back, dude. You Costa's going to be top five in light heavyweight, which is not something I was expecting to say. Um, so I don't really know what you do with him. Honestly, you could give him Yuri. You could give him Yuri, but a great showing for Costa. Murzakanov, you're done, buddy. You were a undefeated record merchant. You were never really good, but it is what it is. Another awesome fight. And you want to say another awesome fight? Here's another awesome fight. Maybe the greatest heavyweight fight of all time. This was incredible, dude. Hokit versus Blades. Hokit comes out swinging. The dude looked lightning quick. You could tell he was a former NFL. I don't know if he was a fullback or running back, but like a former NFL back. Like this guy looked quick, darting in and out. Hurt Blades. Looked like he was gonna finish him, but he kind of ended up gassing himself in the first couple minutes because of how much pressure he was putting on Blades. And then Blades kind of came back, was beating up Hokit, was ended up taking the first round, and Hokit just keeps flipping him off. It was really Hokit looked like he was like faking being tired because he would show horrendous body language, and then but at the same time he'd just be like in his eyes you could just tell like he wasn't that tired. I don't know how to explain it. A very could just be a crazy actor, but incredible fight. They were just slanging and banging back and forth. I don't know how Blades was still standing at the end of that fight. Um, Hokit, I guess that's the difference between being 233 as a heavyweight and being 265 as a heavyweight. Because Hokit was hitting him with his best shots and Blades just wouldn't go down. Blades looked like he was butchered at the end of the fight. He was leaking. Hokit's white shorts were pink by the end of the fight. I mean, if you didn't watch this live, find it pirated or wait till it's uploaded on YouTube because this was an awesome fight. I mean, this is the type of fight you show to someone to get them interested in the sport. Hokit's a true superstar, top five at heavyweight now. Um, Trump was there in attendance. He ends up because Trump was like he was like I want this Josh guy. I want this Josh guy on the White House guard. Give him Derek Lewis. I love Derek Lewis. Very hot balls. They say he has the hottest balls. So Hokit's going to be fighting Derek Lewis at the White House now, which I think is a great fight. I actually thought when Hokit was teasing his fight against Blades, I thought it was going to be Derek Lewis at the White House. So this is going to be an awesome fight. I think Hokit wins it. It's going to be tough for him to recover because this was a war. It was the most significant strikes thrown in a heavyweight fight, and I think third all time, which is crazy. Which is crazy for a heavyweight fight. Um, but despite the damage, despite the short turnaround, I do think Hokit wins it because there's just going to be such a ridiculous speed advantage that it's not even going to be funny. And even though Hokit looked, he got gassed pretty early, he still has significantly better cardio than Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis would have fallen over huffing and puffing midway through the second round. So this was a good win for Hokit. He's gonna be fighting pretty far down in the rankings when he does fight Lewis, but it's gonna be a crazy payday, the biggest stage possible. So we got a true superstar in our hands in the heavyweight division. People were calling his shtick cringe. I think it's really funny. Like you guys got to appreciate we actually have a heavyweight prospect with a personality, and people are complaining. I Hokit's the real deal, dude. Um, Probably will fight for a belt. I mean, beating if he knocks out Derek Lewis, he'll probably get the title shot because beating top five Blades and then beating Derek Lewis, the White House. I mean, but with how backed up heavyweight is, who knows, dude? Who knows? I don't know how he fares against the rest of the heavyweight division, but he's a superstar nonetheless. I can see him running into Gable at some point. I think Gable is a nightmare matchup for him because Hokit is literally just Gable light, like a very athletic wrestler who also has pretty solid striking, and then Gable's just that turned up to 11. So I think Gable probably murders this guy. That would also give Gable some legitimacy. So I see them clashing in the future. I think it'll be a fun build up. Hokit's definitely going to call him a rapist or like something crazy. Um, because he is allegedly one of those. Allegedly. But yeah, Hokit's a superstar. You got to feel for Curtis Blades, but that was the one of the best fights I've seen in my life. Um, Dominic Reyes and Johnny Walker. We thought it was going to be a first round knockout. It was a snooze fest. Yeah, that's all there is to say. Nothing really happened in the fight. Landwehr versus Swanson. This was an interesting one. I'm not going to say this fight was rigged because that would be a nasty thing to say about my boy Nate Landwehr. It'd be a nasty thing to say, but Landwehr, like, I don't even know if he threw a single punch that whole fight, and he was just kind of standing there. He didn't do his normal game plan. He did nothing at all except got hit. So, like, I don't know if they were like, bro, take a dive for Cub Swanson's retirement or what. But regardless, Cub Swanson looked really crisp. Great retirement for him. Took zero damage. Got a nice win in front of his family, and you got to feel good for him. But if I'm the FBI right now, I'm looking into Nate Landwehr right now. I think there could be some shenanigans afoot. But congrats to Cub Swanson, awesome career, last of the WEC fighters, and Nate Landwehr might have to hang it up soon. It's tough. He's taking a lot of damage. I think he needs one good, get one more win. He can retire. I don't know what his financial situation is, but I want to see him go out on a win. He's one of my favorites, and it was really sad to see him. I could just be coping, but if you watch the fight, it was kind of weird. Landwehr did literally nothing whatsoever. Um, and the next fight was the Bellator World Championship on a UFC card. It was Pitbull and Pico. Dude, Pico is ridiculous. He is so good. He has more pop on his shots than any fighter I've ever seen. Like, you have squeaky hammer shots, you have thud shots, and you have pop. And Pico has pop. Every punch he throws just looks like it snaps the other guy's head back. It looks like you hear it, it sounds like a baseball bat. The dude is so quick, so powerful, such a good wrestler, but he just doesn't have the intangibles. I think I said in the last video, he's like the anti Marvin Vittori. Marvin Vittori has all the intangibles. Chin and cardio's kind of an intangible. Cardio, chin, not great fight IQ, but like regard like all the stuff you can't train, Marvin Vittori has. When it comes to stuff that you can train, like jujitsu and fighting skill, he just doesn't have it. So and then Pico's the exact opposite. He has all the tangibles. Like he has ridiculous punch power. He has ridiculous wrestling. He's so quick, so athletic, so fast. But just the his chin and just being not having great game plans, that kind of stuff, it's really going to hold him back. Like Aaron Pico could really be one of the greatest, if not the greatest fighter of all time. Maybe not the greatest, but he could be an all-time great if he had these intangibles. But he just doesn't. I don't know. I just don't know how far he gets because he's so talented and so good. But it's going to be hard for him to stay afloat. And as for Pitbull, he's like 40. He didn't look. He got his shit kicked in, but he showed a lot of heart. I mean, I would say he had moments. I don't really know. He didn't really have moments, but like for a 40-year-old, he's fine. I don't really know what you do with him. I don't think you cut him. Maybe feed him to a couple prospects because like he has decent name value. Like people know him as that Bellator champion guy. He doesn't have a whole lot of legitimacy, but he's a name. But regardless, great showing for Pico. I hope he can figure it out because he's one of my favorite fighters to watch. He's awesome. Uh, Kevin Holland versus Randy Brown. Kevin Holland versus Randy Brown. I mean, it was a fight of all time. It was a fight of all time. Kevin Holland looked pretty good. The biggest moment of the fight, Kevin Holland had him in a Darce choke that was like fully locked up, fully cinched. That's Kevin Holland's choke. That's his thing. And he just didn't finish it. It was so weird. I thought it was over. The announcers thought it was over, but Randy Brown just got out of it. It was crazy. But neither guy looked particularly good. Neither guy looked particularly bad. Um, yeah, there's not really much to say about this fight because it wasn't like a crazy banger or a crazy stinker. Nothing really stood out about this fight. It just was a solid mid card fight. I don't really know what to say. But honestly, give Holland the D Rod rematch. I think that would be. I don't know what would be funnier. if Kevin Holland loses to D Rod, bails him out of jail, and then loses again to D Rod, or if Kevin Holland bails D Rod out of jail and then beats the shit out of him. Like both would just be so funny. I want to see that fight again. I think it would be good. I think it would be good entertainment. Not necessarily a high level fight or like, a particularly entertaining matchup, but I think it would be cool to see a funny storyline. Next fight, Scamrot versus Rebovix. Why would you feed one of the most entertaining striking prospects to one of the biggest sport terrorists in the sport? Why would you do that? Gamrot smudged him and then subbed him. Like, it went exactly how you thought it would go. The dude's a sport terrorist. He's a boring fighter. The day he gets cut from the sport, I'm going to celebrate. Revovic, obviously, if you can't stuff a takedown, you're not really championship material. But like, give him strikers, give him fun matchups. This guy's fun, exciting, athletic, and then you feed him to Scamrot. Like Scamrot should be only fighting in the apex against nobodies. He should not be given entertaining prospects to fight against. Gamrot is a smudge grappler and is boring, and we don't want him around, or at least I don't want him around. I think you give Patty a little tune-up fight because I don't think Patty's great, but he can at least grapple. And Scamrot's not gonna sub Patty. Scamrot's not gonna knock out Patty. I think it would be a fun little tune-up for Patty. But also, you want to put Patty on a big stage, so maybe not. I don't know. Ideally, Gamrot gets cut. That's not what's gonna happen. But whatever. Speaking of sport terrorists, Tatiana Suarez. Um, I actually didn't watch this fight. I went to play some Rocket League with my friend because I knew this was going to be a snoozer. So I don't really know what happened. Based off of what I got, the synopsis I got from my friend, Godinez like was beating her up in the first round and then just got smudged, and then second round just got smudged and subbed. I don't know if that's what happened, but whatever. Suarez, she can never be a champion because she can't strike, and all the championship level fighters will be good enough to stifle her takedowns. And then when the fight's on the feet, Suarez won't be good enough to fight back. But she's going to beat all like the lower ranked people because none of the lower ranked people could grapple as well as she does. So she's just going to smudge them. Like, real no man's land territory. Tough loss for Lupe Godinez, but she's another fight. She should be given fun brawls. Like, she's not championship material, but she's entertaining, and she's pretty. So I think, give her some fun brawls. Banish Suarez to the apex. Um, yeah, whatever. It was what it was. This was an interesting fight. Medeiros versus Padilla. Let me get my facts straight on what happened here, because like it was weird and I didn't really understand what happened. So Padilla wins the first round on 2 of the 3 scorecards, and then I don't even know what happened. Like basically, they announced Padilla as the winner, and then like an hour later, they were like, "Yo, it was not that. Actually, it was a draw." And I don't know. Like a point got taken at some point. I don't know. I was pretty confused because I wasn't paying too close of attention, so I didn't see what happened. Like when the point was taken, like what happened. But it looked like a pretty clear Padilla win to me, so I was kind of confused. Like Padilla looked like he looked like the better fighter. It was a pretty solid fight. Padilla looked like the better fighter, and then they were like half an hour later, they're like, yeah, it was actually a draw. Like kind of weird. You got to feel bad for Padilla because he got his post fight interview, got his hand raised, thought he won and everything. And they're like, actually, dude, you're gonna hate me for this. But whatever. I mean, it was a fun scrap. We've seen a lot of this recently since the Paramount deal because I know Paramount has nothing to do with the judges and the commission and like the referees and everything, but we've seen a lot of weird mistakes. like with stuff being announced wrong, the Marcin Tybura fight it happened. And it happening twice is so weird. We've seen refs like the Rebovic's fight. The ref was all up in Rebovic's grill when Gamrot had the submission locked in, was like touching on him and trying to see if he was unconscious when he was very clearly still conscious. It was kind of weird. But yeah, there's just the commissions, the referees, they have to lock in and like take some pride in your work because you can't make these mistakes in a professional sport. Like you just cannot do that. Especially in a, since the McGregor days, the sport has kind of cemented itself as a legitimate sport, but there's still pockets that kind of hold MMA in sort of like, a position of illegitimacy that it's not a real sport, that it's just human cockfighting. And so when you're a referee and a commission member and your job is to make the sport, safe and fair and everything, you have to take some pride and really do a good job. And it's just not acceptable, especially with a multi-billion-dollar Paramount deal. You can't be making these mistakes. But whatever, you know, it's they're not going to make any changes, so who cares? But Luque versus Gaslam. This did not go how I thought it would go. Um, Luque was kind of just sitting there and taking it like a good boy. And then out of nowhere, drops Gaslam. Like, I did not know Luque had that in him. He looked big. He looked like a true middleweight, which was the crazy part. Drops Gaslam and then subs him. It was crazy because Gaslam was winning the whole time. Like, he looked crisp. Um, yeah, a good win for Luque. Like, I don't think he's going to go anywhere in the division, but he looked really solid. Got his signature Darce, but pretty crazy pop to knock down Gaslam. You got to respect that. But Gaslam, you got to retire, dude. Oh my God, please retire. Like no one wants to see you out there, Taco Boy. Come on, man, Taco Truck Gaslam. And then Luke gets another. Like this was kind of the battle of inconsistencies. And then the first fight of the night, I don't really remember what happened. Radke was kind of beating him up. I just remember and then got the decision, but I just remember. Oh no, now I remember. Prado got a huge cut on his face. Like he got elbowed and just was leaking everywhere, and it was kind of downhill from there. But the the big part was Radke. He got his mic moment. He said a certain word. A certain word. I'm not going to say the word, but it's the F word. You can't say that. The Democrats get mad. You cannot say that about people. But Paramount HR was probably fuming over that. But it was pretty funny to see regardless. Radke's pretty solid. I don't think he's really top contender worthy, but he looks solid. He's a fun fighter. He's fighting really aggressively and put on a good scrap for the opener. But as for my picks, on the prelims, I picked Gaslam, which was wrong. I mean, obviously, no one picks a draw. But one wrong on the prelims, pretty solid. But the main card I struggled because I picked Pitbull, Landwehr, Reyes, Blades, Mirzakana. So I got one right on the main card. But I'm not too mad about that because this was kind of a battle. A lot of these fights were Mr. Potential, like people that could be really good. Like I said, Ulberg could win. I don't think he will, but he has a path to victory. I said Costa, could be really good, but isn't. Um, Landwehr, I wasn't expecting him to throw the fights. That's my bad. Pico could. So it was nice to see a lot of fighters fighting up to their potential, like really showing the crowd, really living up to the moment. Because when fighters are fighting their best fights, it's good for everyone. It's good for the fighters. It's good for the sport. It's good for the fans. So it's good to see. But these top three fights were awesome. It was one of the greatest three fight stretches I've seen on a pay per view. Just like I cannot stress that Ulberg coming back from a torn ACL and winning is crazy again and knocking out Yuri. It's crazy. Costa being an undefeated fighter, showing his full potential, as the eraser, as Borhachina. It was awesome to see. And then Hokit putting on the heavyweight performance of the century. Holy shit, was that a gunshot outside? That was weird. People outside my house it's either fireworks or guns. They're coming after me. They come after me again. They tried to assassinate me in Butler, Pennsylvania. They're coming back again. Um, Hokit putting on the fight of the century at heavyweight. I think they saw Reyes and Johnny Walker stink it up, and all six of these dudes were like, we can't let that happen. We can't have that be us. Because the crowd was also really good. They had their flashlights out and they were like boring, boring, boring. Like the crowd was really into it. It seemed like a pretty educated crowd tonight. Um, if they were an educated crowd, they would throw bottles and cans at Scamrot, but you can't do that. They follow the laws. But great three fight stretch, great pay per view in general. Um, yeah. What's next is Malott versus Burns next. I'm not gonna watch that or make a video on that. I don't care. I don't care about that. That's another thing. I kind of like. A lot of people don't like it, but I kind of like how Paramount is. They're stacking pay per views and then just putting the slop on the Apex cards. I kind of like it. If it was up to me, I would make the fight nights a little better because a lot of these fight nights, it's for the fans. The fans there, you know, it's usually in smaller cities, so the fans there don't really get to go to UFC events. So I think the fans deserve good local events, but at the same time, it's tough to stack pay per views and fight nights. So you got to find a balance there. But I trust the UFC there. When it comes to maximizing their profits, they're pretty damn good at that. But as for Apex cards, a lot of people say we should get rid of them. I don't because I think it's fine putting all the fights no one cares about kind of in a warehouse where you can go to that, but like no one really cares. Maybe put like the main event of an Apex card to be like underappreciated fighters that can really show up, so they get their name out there. People remember the name, so they fight. Um, Next time they fight, people are like, oh, I know this guy from that main event. But I don't really care about Apex cards. If it's slop, it's slop. But overall, awesome, awesome pay per view. I can't stress enough this three fight stretch. This I'm gonna remember this forever. You show people these fights, it's gonna get them into the sport. But that's it from me. I'll see y'all later. I'm probably gonna go rewatch these fights. It was awesome. So bye.